What's up? Back at home today. Got a fun little project to tackle in the garage. I want to put both of my garage doors on my Home Assistant. I have one wired up currently, temporarily, so I'm gonna go through and clean up the wiring, and then we're gonna completely wire the other one. So I'll bring you guys along, and I wanted to start off by showing you some of the tools and devices that I'm using to accomplish that. All right, here's a quick outline of everything that I'm gonna be using. At the core, we have a Shelly 1 Plus. This is a smart relay, and it can be powered by 12 volt, 24 volt, 48 volt, or mains voltage, so 120 to 240 volt. It also has a dry contact relay with a switch input, and that's what this will be used for. This is called a reed switch, R-E-E-D switch, and that's how we will communicate the status of the door, whether it is open or closed. This is thermostat wire, that's what I would call it. It has 5 conductors, 18 gauge, so this is 18.5. You could use pretty much any gauge of wire for this application, though I probably wouldn't go much smaller than 22 to 24, so you could even use like Cat 6 for something like this. So that's the wiring. Some standard wood staples, hammer, got some Wigos, lever lock, wire nuts. Be using those for the 24 volt power supply that I'm going to power this with. Dikes, strippers, and zip ties and stuff. So that's all the stuff we will be using. Now that you've seen kind of everything that we're gonna be using, I'm gonna dive right in, set up a time lapse, and get this wiring cleaned up. Okay, so I'll give you guys a quick run through of the connections that I've made. I have the conductor white and red to the push button and common, so that when the Shelly closes the relay, these two touch and that simulates a button press on the garage. And then I also have is my reed switch. So this top part is mounted to the chain. The bottom part with the leads is just adhesive to the actual garage door motor. And so as the garage door opens, this reed switch will go away. That will break this connection and send what would effectively be a open or off to Home Assistant. Then when it comes back in, it closes the circuit, which then triggers the on or closed command to Home Assistant, and all of that can be configured. Those reed switch conductors are hitting yellow and blue, and all of that is being bundled up into that 18.5 and being sent to the Shelly. All right, welcome to the Shelly spaghetti. So I've got 2 of these, each for one of the doors. And as you can see, the pinouts here, white and red are on O and I, that is the dry contact relay. Yellow is going to SW, that is the switch input. And then blue is coming off of voltage negative. So that's what creates that open and close on the relay. So the Shelly can read input on or input off. And I'll go over the configurations for both the Shelly and Home Assistant. Okay, I'm going to try to very clearly explain the process Once you have your Shellys mounted and wired, the first and most important thing that we want to do is change the way that the relay interacts with the switch. So we do not want the switch state to control the relay like it would in a typical switch leg application. So the first thing we need to do is go to output, and I am on firmware 1.2.0. So go to output, input output settings. And this is the most important one here. So detached. That's the one that we're really wanting to change. Once you've done that, we have one other setting that we need to create. I'll go back to home here, output, timers. So we need to simulate a momentary button press, but by default, the relay turns itself on and stays on until it's turned off. The timers allow us to do what's called an auto off. So that will simulate relay on, 1 second, relay off. Effectively a button press. So we want to set up auto off and have that configured. Click save. So here in Home Assistant, you can see that I have 2 garage doors. For my 2-car garage, one is open, one is closed. I will show you guys how to incorporate those garage doors into Home Assistant. It is a manual process. It does not have a native kind of GUI integration. You'll want to add a Shelly device using the GUI. You can just type in the host address and it should connect. I'm using the standard Shelly config, not MQTT. So if I'm looking at the garage door, Highlander, I went ahead and renamed the entity name. And then you also have to enable the input sensor. Mine were disabled by default. So under sensors, you just have to click the settings and toggle enable. And then after a few seconds, you'll begin to get this status window here. Once you have your Shelly configured, now it's time to edit your config file. I use the file editor extension, and we want to be editing configuration.yaml. And here's the code for that. I don't fully understand every line that's happening. I understand most of it. So I'm going to link another video from apalrd Adventures. He is a wonderful, very technically savvy YouTuber who can explain more of the line-by-line nuances of this code. But the most important thing here is that we want to link the binary sensor from the Shelly input across all of these different lines, and then also the switch from the Shelly across the different lines as well. And this is essentially creating what's called a cover using the garage door device class. Once you have your garage doors created, they are then able to be added to the UI using the entity card. At least that's the one that I prefer. There's also the mushroom UI that you can install through hacks, but I don't mind the default one at all. And if you just search for the name garage door, that will populate. I have one already configured here for, like I said, my Highlander. So I can open and close and stop. Those are all very handy. And then the last thing I wanted to quickly show is a automation that automatically opens and closes my garage door based off of where I am. And here is the automation that I created. It's very simple. I use a trigger for when entity with location is home, then do. The first thing I have it do is send my wife a zone notification. It tells her that I'm at home. And then I use the service cover open with the entity tag garage door Subaru because that is my car. So that's the really basic layout of how I have both of my garage doors converted to Home Assistant. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, maybe like, subscribe, stick around. I will be continuing to upload. So thank you so much.